limited vehicles in Wartune are normally pretty alright, but balanced enough. However, mythic limited vehicles normally don't abide by the rule of being balanced, and completely outclass a lot of other vehicles. So in this video, I will be telling you a single or multiple counters to all the mythic limited vehicles in Wartune in two scenarios. One where you are hunting them down, and one where you are getting hunted down by them, or more accurately, camped by them. And so, let us start the video. So, to hunt an independent X, you don't need much actually. The Assault Raphael should do it. It is two very potent anti-ship missiles, which, when maxed, nearly do 4,000 damage total. So, two torpedo runs will be able to kill an independent X. However, its railgun and airlock missiles are a threat to you. To deal with that, I simply recommend being high in the sky so it hopefully doesn't notice you, and then flaring when you are moving away from it or directly over it so it cannot shoot you with its missiles. However, that does not solve this issue of the railgun, but that is just an issue that you have to deal with. Or you can just, do multiple kamikaze runs. It doesn't actually matter that much. But that is how you can counter the Independence X when hunting it down. So, a camping son of a gun is using an Independence X, and your only choice is ground vehicles. As anything else, it will have an advantage against and will be able to kill immediately. Most ground vehicles work to counter the Independence X from cover, but ones with guided missiles are very good and can work with a lot of cover instead of just a little. The Losat stands out exceptionally, as it has 12 pretty alright guided missiles, but it has 12 of them, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to shoot those over the Tycoon to hit the Independence X. And then you're just going to keep doing that, because the Independence X has a lot of HP. It will take a while, but you can do it if you keep shooting the guided missiles. But it will take a while. And that's how you can do the Independence X, from cover, safely. The Superhind is a very well-rounded helicopter. It's good at everything. However, in terms of helicopter-on-helicopter combat, the Little Bird and K-52 are way better. They can outrun and gain a Superhind, so the Superhind cannot flee from them, and will be forced to fight them. And will nearly always lose to that too. And this is actually a far more skill-based counter than anything, in my opinion. But it is just a really good counter to the Superhind, as it will nearly always lose against these two helicopters, as they are really good when you can maneuver around the Superhind. Otherwise, some other notable counters would be the Tow Weasel, which will one-shot the Superhind if it has level 2 firepower. Or the ADATS, which is a anti-air vehicle, which is great at anti-air, so you can just use it to use anti-air on the Superhind when hunting it down. But what if the Superhind is camping you? Well, no air vehicles will be able to be spawned without being destroyed by the Superhind, which leaves two options. The first is the Independence, as it is very good at anti-air, and will force the Superhind to either flee and hide, or will straight up end up letting you take down the Superhind, immediately. And the other option is tanks. 3 tanks stand out in particular to me. If the Superhind is staying pretty close to your Tycoon, the K-51 should let you take it out, as it's pretty decent to use in close quarters.
I can explain.
Or ground to air, at least. Otherwise, the ADAS and Tow Weasel are really good. Far better than the K-51 in my opinion. The ADAS is an anti-air vehicle, so it is obviously good at anti-air. And the Tow Weasel, it's anti-tank. But we're using for anti-air purposes, as it should be able to one-shot. It will one-shot the Superhind if it is a level 2 firepower, no matter what level the Mi-24 is. Which leaves it as a very good counter if the Mi-24 is camping you. The Seahawk is a super good plane. For stats, it has some really good speed, being the second fastest jet, and its HP is on the very high end, only being outclassed by bombers and stuff like the F-35, I think, actually. And for its weapons, well, they end up pretty good. There's some pretty solid fire and forget missiles along with a solid gun. However, the reason that it's so good is that it's the best dogfighter in the game. Its turn rate is the best. And nothing is really fit to counter it. You might be able to counter it if you are a skilled helicopter player, but planes will nearly always result in death unless they are very bad. And there is a reason the Seahawk is very feared in air-to-air combat. So, what I recommend doing is using the Tow Weasel. The Tow Weasel is a silly little guy, and it is the same boat as it was with the Superhind. It will one-shot the Seahawk if it has level 2 firepower. However, the Tow Weasel is rather fragile, so you're going to want to be in cover, or make sure you're not discovered before you kill the Seahawk. Otherwise, it's pretty said and done to hunt down the Seahawk with a Tow Weasel. It is very good at anti-air. But what now if the Seahawk is camping you? The Tow Weasel isn't nearly as good now, because it has nearly no HP and will well, get killed by the Seahawk if it gets sighted at all. So what I recommend doing is driving the tow weasel in and out of cover so the Seahawk can't really hit you. And doing it when the Seahawk isn't able to turn around and hit you before you can drive back into cover and be safe from it. Other than that, I think the Challenger 2 and K51 are very good options. The Challenger 2 has a ton of active protection system uses and very high HP, while the K51 does not have as high of HP or as many active protection system uses. It can aim nearly straight up in case the Seahawk, not the K51, is flying directly down and strafing you, which lets you shoot it, unlike tanks like the Challenger 2, which cannot aim straight up and shoot at aircraft, which the K51 can nearly do. Otherwise, there's not many options to deal with a Seahawk that's camping you, but you can always spawn an Independence. Do what I do, spawn an Independence, then slam it with the 57 on board. Trust me, it will work. The Longbow is pretty one-sided for what it has going for it. Its stats are pretty mediocre, but it has some good missiles and quite a few of air-to-ground missiles at 16 total. However, its gun is pretty bad compared to other helicopters. So I recommend the Little Bird or K52. It is in the exact same boat as the Superhind, in which it is not that great at heli to heli, especially when they are in close quarters. That is where it really sucks at heli to heli. So rushing it with the K52 or Little Bird will fare very well for you and will nearly always end with you winning. And if it is camping you, it is no better than the Superhind. The K51 is pretty good as it can aim nearly straight up. The ADATS is good because it's an anti-air, and the Tow Weasel, well, I wouldn't recommend the Tow Weasel. ADATS and K51, yeah, but the Tow Weasel doesn't get smoke. What I recommend you doing is the K51 or the ADATS and using those. Or using Independence. That's the actual coolest option, I think. Because you can just spawn a boat. What are they going to do? Die? The BMD form is super easy to hunt down. The A10 or Nighthawk are all you need. All ground vehicles have this one weakness. And if the BMD form is attempting to camp you, what you're going to want to do is use the K51. It has an active protection system that will be able to intercept the BMD4's missile, unless it bugs out, which it does sometimes. And the drones of the K51 will have a hell of a time against the BMD Forum, as the BMD Forum has no active protection system to stop ya, at least to stop the drones. So this ends up making the K51 a pretty good option to counter the BMD Forum if it decides to camp you. I made air quotation marks for that. Like I stated before, all ground vehicles have the same weakness. The A10 or Nighthawk smart bombs will absolutely annihilate the Buratino. That is it. That's all you need to counter the Buratino. If it is camping you, it is a different story, however. The Buratino is a very unique tank, so it's pretty confusing and hard to figure out a good counter to it. And having what it has, it is pretty good at camping you at a range. It has guided missiles, which can shoot over cover, and indirect rockets, which will also be able to shoot over cover. Which tanks end up being your main option because it will destroy anything else you spawn, or will have cover to do so. I personally recommend the E100 because I love it for tank-to-tank combat, mostly because of its absurd damage. If you hit the Buratino with both your cannons, it will either just kill it flat out or leave it at 5% or below. It does that to the Abrams X. So all you're going to want to do is machine gunning after that happens. Or you can use another tank. It's pretty skill-based when you're fighting the Buratino, but I'd recommend the E100 to counter it. Hello! This is the end of the video. Thank you for watching all the way. This took quite a few hours to make. It was very fun. I liked it, and I'll probably make more videos similar to this in the future. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. This video took pretty long to make, and if you liked it, please do, so you can support the channel. And I will see you in the next video.